Welcome to the Architecture of the Afterlife, a new ebook coming soon to Barnes& Nobles. What I am about to share with you is the result of a comprehensive textual analysis spanning 15 distinct biblical sources from Genesis to Revelation, with the Book of Enoch serving as the cosmological framework that ties everything together. Using the SHIELD protocol methodology, we have mapped what can only be called the complete architecture of the afterlife. And the convergence rate across these texts exceeds 89%. This is not coincidence. This is not literary borrowing. This is unified revelation. The same structure described from multiple angles, in multiple genres, across multiple centuries, by multiple authors, all pointing to the same reality. The SHIELD protocol restricts all analysis to the Bible and the Book of Enoch only. No external theological frameworks, no academic commentary, no denominational interpretations, just the texts themselves speaking with one voice. Throughout this analysis, we track three foundational pillars that recur across all biblical texts concerning the afterlife. We call this the Dominion Trinity. First, identity. Who are we in relation to Elohim and the cosmic order? Second, inheritance. What has been prepared for us? And what have we forfeited? Third, priesthood. Who mediates between realms, and by what authority? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Part 1. The Foundation. Our foundation begins in Genesis chapter 6, where the Torah records a cosmic transgression that changed everything. The sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men and took wives of all whom they chose. Their offspring were the giants, the Nephilim, the men of renown. The Book of Enoch expands this account with stunning detail. 200 angels descended on Mount Hermon, bound together by mutual oaths. Their leader, Simjaza, feared bearing responsibility alone, so they swore together. The name Hermon itself connects to the Hebrew word cherem, meaning curse or oath. These watchers not only took wives, but taught forbidden knowledge. Azazel taught metalwork for weapons and cosmetics. Others taught enchantments, astrology, and signs. The corruption spread until the cries of the earth reached heaven. The divine response was swift and severe. The angel Raphael was commanded, "Go to Azazel, bind his hands and his feet, and cast him into the darkness. Make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudiel, and cast him there. Place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever." But here is the critical detail that explains so much of what follows. When the giant Nephilim died, their spirits were not bound. They were released. Enoch records, "The spirits of the giants shall destroy without incurring judgment until the day of the consummation." These are the unclean spirits, the demons of the gospel accounts. This is why they asked the Lord Joshua, "Have you come to torment us before the time?" They know their judgment is coming. They are simply operating in the interim. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Part 2. The Core Architecture. The Lord Joshua provides a narrative demonstration of this architecture in Luke chapter 16. Two men die. Lazarus, the poor man covered with sores, is carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom. The rich man finds himself in torments in the mansion of the dead. And in the mansion of the dead he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and sees Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. Note the architectural features. The mansion of the dead, using the Greek term Hades. Abraham's bosom, a designated place of comfort. A huge gulf fixed, an impassable barrier between the bright and dark regions. Visual awareness across the gulf. They can see each other. They can speak, but they cannot cross. Now compare this to Enoch chapter 22. Enoch writes, "I saw the spirits of the children of men who were dead, for hollow places, deep and wide and very smooth. 3 of them were dark and 1 bright, and there was a fountain of water in its midst." The correspondence is exact. Abraham's bosom equals the bright hollow with the spring of water. The dark hollows correspond to the places of torment. The huge gulf fixed matches Enoch's description of places that cannot be crossed. This is not literary borrowing. This is two witnesses describing the same reality from different vantage points. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Part 3. The expansion. Matthew 25 gives us the final separation. The sheep on the right inherit the kingdom prepared from the foundation of the world. The goats on the left depart into the fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Note that critical phrase. The fire was prepared for the devil and his angels. This connects directly to Enoch's account of the Watcher's judgment, reserved for the day of the great judgment. Revelation chapter 20 describes the terminus of this interim architecture. First, Satan is bound in the abyss for 1,000 years. Then comes the first resurrection, emptying the bright hollow place. Satan is loosed briefly and destroyed. Then the great white throne, where Hades gives up the dead that were in them. The Charles Thompson translation explicitly identifies Hades as the mansion of the dead, the exact terminology used in Luke 16 and Isaiah 14. Jude's epistle is critically important because it directly quotes from Enoch and validates its prophetic status. The angels who did not keep their own government, but left their proper abode, he has reserved in perpetual bonds, under darkness, for the judgment of the great day. Then Jude quotes Enoch directly. Behold, YHWH is coming with his holy myriads to execute judgment on all. This canonical endorsement validates Enoch's cosmological framework as genuine revelation. Ezekiel 32 provides the Hebrew prophetic witness. The nations descend into the pit, and who greets them? The giants who fell of old. Their iniquities are upon their bones. They lie with their swords under their heads. This is the same population described in Genesis 6 and Enoch, now identified as permanent occupants of the pit. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Part 4. The final integration. 1 Peter chapter 3 provides the crucial link between the messianic triumph and the imprisoned watchers. The Messiah went and made proclamation to the spirits which are now in prison, at the time they were disobedient in the days of Noah. 2 Peter chapter 2 gives us Tartarus. For if Elohim spared not angels who sinned, but confined them in Tartarus. This is the only use of this word in the entire New Testament. Tartarus is the Greek term for the deepest prison beneath Hades, where the Titans were bound. Peter deliberately chose this term because his Greek-speaking audience would understand it as the deepest prison, distinct from Hades below it. Isaiah chapter 14 provides the Hebrew prophetic parallel. Hades from beneath was in uproar to meet you, for you were roused, all the giants who had ruled the earth. This is the same welcoming committee as Ezekiel 32. Then Isaiah gives us Lucifer's destination. Yet you shall be brought down to the mansion of the dead, to the foundations of the earth. Mansion of the dead. The exact same phrase as Luke 16:23. Foundations of the earth. The exact location of Tartarus and the abyss. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Part 5. The complete architecture. Let me now describe the complete architecture as revealed across all 15 texts. At the deepest level, level 0, we find Tartarus, also called the abyss, the foundations of the earth or Dudiel. Here are confined Lucifer, Azazel, the bound watchers, and during the 1,000 years, Satan himself. They are held in chains of darkness until the judgment of the great day. At level 1, we find a mansion of the dead, the hollow places. One is bright, with a spring of water, where the righteous dead await perfection in Abraham's bosom. 3 are dark, holding different categories of the unrighteous. In the lowest pit lie the giants who fell of old, with their iniquities upon their bones. Between the bright and dark places, the huge gulf is fixed. They can see across. They can communicate, but they cannot cross. At level 2, the spirits of the giants roam the earth. These are the demons of the gospel accounts, operating without incurring judgment until the day of the consummation. They know their time is limited. They fear the appointed hour. At level 3 is the land of the living, the mortal realm where the 5 brothers of the rich man still have opportunity to hear Moses and the prophets. At the final judgment, the hollow places are emptied. Hades gives up the dead. The first resurrection empties Abraham's bosom. The great white throne determines final destinations. Death and Hades are hurled into the lake of fire. And the new Jerusalem descends, where death shall not exist any longer. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Critical distinctions. Two important clarifications emerge from this analysis. First, the king of Tyre in Ezekiel 28 is not Satan. The text describes a cherub who was perfect in his ways from the day he was created until iniquity was found in him. But 1 John 3:8 explicitly states that Satan was a sinner from the beginning. These cannot be the same being. The king of Tyre appears to be a cherub associated with the Ammonite deity Moloch, and this cherub will be burned to ashes upon the earth. Second, the biblical evidence challenges the assumption that angels cannot die. 1 Timothy 6:16 declares that God alone has immortality. Angels are not immortal by nature. Their lives must be continually renewed. Luke 20:36 says angels cannot die anymore, but this is conditional on remaining sinless. The wages of sin is death, and this applies to any intelligent being who sins. The king of Tyre cherub will be burned to ashes. Psalm 82 declares, "You are gods, but you shall die like men." Ecclesiastes speaks of the silver cord that sustains all life, which God can sever for any being. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Conclusion. At 89.2% convergence across 15 distinct biblical texts, spanning Torah, prophets, writings, gospels, epistles, and apocalyptic literature, authored over approximately 1,500 years by multiple writers, the probability of this convergence being random is effectively zero. Each expansion of the analysis increased convergence rates. Additional vectors strengthened rather than diluted the thematic unity. This is the opposite of what would be expected from random texts. The architecture of the afterlife is a unified biblical teaching. Enoch provides the foundational cosmological framework that the canonical texts presuppose and expand. The mansion of the dead, the hollow places, the gulf, the binding of the watchers, the roaming spirits of the giants, the final judgment. It is all one structure, described by multiple witnesses across millennia. The question is not whether this structure exists. The texts are clear. The question is which hollow place awaits you, and whether you will hear Moses and the prophets while opportunity remains. This has been The Architecture of the Afterlife by Dallas James. Hearts 2 Fathers Publishing.